as we prepare for another episode of DC Graduates. I am one of your hosts, your doctor recommended dose of nerdiness, aka your nerd today, Carlos Rodriguez, and I am joined as always by a graduate of MC University, Sly Clone MC, as they prepare their new dissertation on why DC movies are actually pretty good, at least animated wise. Sly, how are you today?
I'm doing great. That is the important distinction. Like DC movies can be good, actually. That's what we're trying to prove
Mm-hmm.
here, right? DC animated movies
Yeah.
specifically.
Yeah, don't think
Um
about it too much. They are good.
yeah,
They just happen to
and
be animated, and we love animated
I'm
movies here.
we love animated movies here. I'm so excited to be here. We're talking about a movie you are very excited about, and I'm so
That's it.
excited to hear all your thoughts on. Of course, we hyped it up a lot last week. This is Batman Beyond: Return of the Joker. And now, if any of you are following along with us chronologically and are like, hey, what's up? There's technically another movie in the chronological order. Well, I'm a dumbass. And I was going through this list and I saw Justice League versus the Fatal Five. And I was like, oh, that looks like it takes place after Justice League Unlimited. And I was like, okay, great. The last episode of that show is after Batman Beyond. So the Batman Beyond movie obviously takes place before the
Mm-hmm.
end
Mm-hmm.
of JLU, right? That's not how it works. The movie takes place after JLU, but before the final episode. Duh. I don't know
Yeah,
what I was thinking. It's fine.
yeah.
We're here. We're talking about Batman Beyond. It's gonna be a great time. You know, we're not here to be perfect. We're just here to have a silly,
No,
goofy time.
the only thing I will give you as like as a way out of this situation, if you feel bad about it, is I mean that movie does deal with characters from the 31st century that technically is after Batman Beyond. So
Maybe I was right.
yeah, it's a little bit of both. You get a little leeway, you know.
All right.
But yeah, we are talking about the 2000 movie Batman Beyond: The Return of the Joker. Um, so we'll start with
I also
history
had
class. Yeah, go ahead. Go.
sorry, a total ruin your transition there. For the record, I did have this in our spreadsheet as coming out in 2004. I don't know where I got that from. That was so wrong. But I kept
That's how
putting
bad you
down
want to watch the
2004.
2004 series. Like, when can we talk about Batman versus Dracula?
I cannot wait to talk about the movie. But we're not in 2004. We're in 2000. I was a whole 1 years old.
All right, all right,
So let's talk about history.
yeah. So I have a lot of history with this movie.
Uh-huh.
Sly doesn't because they were barely walking and talking. Not fair. Anyway, so was this your first time, Sly, watching this movie?
Yeah, I was never a big Beyond person. Obviously, the animated series was a little bit before my time. The Batman 2004 was like my animated series. I was a huge Justice League Unlimited fan growing up. I really loved those shows. But Batman Beyond never really appealed to me. It wasn't just like the vibe of it didn't really match anything I've ever really enjoyed watching. I've always it's technically very good. I'm sure the storylines are great, but especially when I'm going to like DC animated content, like there's a specific tone that I really enjoy. Um and like grim dark, everything's bad, like we're grumpy and crotchety about everything. It's just kind of, especially now, a little too realistic.
Yeah, it's a little. It can be
um
a little much.
but yeah, so yes, as you said, this is the first time I've ever seen this movie, and I gotta say, I went into this and I was terrified. I was like, I know you love this movie so much, and I'm like, I have a feeling that it's gonna be really good and I'm not gonna like it at
It's gonna
all.
be one of those. Yeah.
Spoiler alert, I had a decent time with it. I enjoyed it. I'm coming into it much more positive than I thought I would, and thank God for that.
Yeah, for the content wise, thank God for that. Yeah. No, I was a big fan of Batman Beyond. The series proper. It was like a perfect time for me. So I was like 11, 12, like when the series was starting. It was weird concept to think about, to be fair. Like, and it wasn't, looking back at it, it wasn't too obvious for a kid, but for an adult, it was purely to make action figures. The story goes like Bruce Timm, Paul Dini, and all, they pulled him aside like, we need to make more Batman figures, guys. Like, we need something. And I don't know how they landed. I forget how they landed on the futuristic aspect, but that's how they started. But they actually crafted this very well told, not only animated series, but this movie is really well told. The people that are involved with the series proper, I mean, you have Seth Green doing like one of his first vocal roles. You have the returning, Kevin Conroy, Will Friedle. Obviously, if you're a '90s kid like me, he is Eric Matthews from Boy Meets World. There's so many other like '90s like comedies and stuff that he's part of. I love him so much, but he's so perfectly cast as Terry McGinnis. Angie Harmon, coming in. It's so funny that Deanie and Tim have this, and Andrea Romano, as we always mention her because she's amazing, have this thing that they just, this magic about them, that they just bring these awesome people into these roles and actually make like they make gold out of shit, right? Like they were given a decree by Warner Brothers, make us money so we can sell toys. And they're like, fine, you're gonna get a really gritty neo noir, cyberpunk esque Batman, with a young protagonist. Like, oh, make him young. It was like, all right, cool. He's gonna kind of be like Peter, but like a dick version of Peter Parker. And it's also awesome
That's a
too.
great way to describe him.
He's like a dick version of Peter Parker, but like a fun asshole. Like kind of like that Tony Stark esque. Like he's an asshole, but he's our asshole. That's Terry McGinnis, and we've mentioned his origin before in previous episodes. So if you've seen, if you're not new to DC graduates, he is part of this Batman Beyond program. There's a Justice League episode that kind of ties into this, and it's his origins and stuff. It's really cool, but this movie kind of cements a lot of things for me with Terry, and it's funny rewatching it. I haven't seen it in a couple of years, and seeing how well Terry McGinnis fits the role of Batman, specifically in this universe as well. Just absolutely, like, he really fits story wise. He is the Batman for this time. The shit that he has to deal with, like the splicers and the Joker gangs and the updated, Royal Flush gang that he has to deal with in the series and things like that. And this iteration of Joker, who is on a different level than we've seen Joker lately, or in the series so far. It's really cool to see Terry McGinnis, and I have such a love for him. The action figures I had as a kid, absolutely cool. They had this translucent Terry figure I fucking loved, and I, of course, being an adult, I'm like, I'm never gonna play with these again. And I'm like, God damn it! Now I wish I had, because I could give them to my kids and they'd be fun, and then I can play with them. They're
Yeah.
my kids, not mine, of course. I'm an adult.
Of course.
Yeah, no. But yeah, when this movie came out, it was such a big deal for me. I unfortunately only saw the TV cut for the longest time until I eventually bought it on DVD, which we mentioned before. It was like one of those plastic ones with the
Mm-hmm.
cardboard that you had to open and stuff. Like, it was one of those, but it had the unrated cut, which is PG-13. It was the first time we've gotten a PG-13 anything animated wise. Now that's very commonplace, especially with streaming and Max and everything. We get a lot of PG-13 or hell R-rated stuff when it comes to DC, and some of it fits, some of it
we had
doesn't.
Batman and Harley Quinn last week.
That was, yeah,
Very PG.
that was very PG. This is like just skimming the surface of what PG-13, what you can do. Like, at worst, it's like the action scenes are a little more intense, and they don't have to do the I think I mentioned in last week's episode as well. They don't have to do the thing where if someone from a different gender gets hit, there's a flash on screen, even if it's Wonder Woman, a demigod, God forbid, if like Lex Luthor punches her, if you watch an episode of Justice League, it will flash white because that's violence towards a woman. Standards and practices don't like that for cartoons, apparently. Dana gets her ass whooped in this one. Unfortunately, she takes quite a tumble. But Batman comes back and whoops that ass. But yeah, let's get into it directly. I'll ramble about this movie, but that's what the next parts are for. So, as you know, as always, this studio is WB Animation. It was directed by Kurt Gaeta, who this is the second time we've talked about Kurt. Right? I believe he directed Superman, Brainiac Attacks. If I'm right, I feel like that. I'm just going off the back of my head. Yeah.
I do not remember. I have the IMDb pulled up right next to me.
Nice.
Oh, he did Superman the animated series.
Okay, so yeah, that makes sense. Probably, you know what? Maybe it was Batman and Superman, World's Finest. Since those are three episodes of the series. It was written by Paul Dini, Glenn Murakami, and Bruce Timm. Stars Will Friedle, as I mentioned, as Terry McGinnis, Batman of the Beyond Universe of Neo Gotham. Kevin Conroy as this older, more grizzled Bruce Wayne. Mark Hamill reprising his role as the Joker, and a cool vocal cameo. If you noticed, he also plays a little slimy guy that's trying to work his way up. It's a great red herring. Angie Harmon as Barbara Gordon, Arlene Sorkin as Harley Quinn, Tara Strong as a young Barbara Gordon, Melissa Joan Hart, which always threw me off as a kid, as Dee Dee. Great twins. Michael Rosenbaum, love him as his doing his best Christopher Walken impersonation as Ghoul. Andrea Romano, the always amazing. She has a little vocal cameo, and Bruce Timm has a vocal cameo as well. Is it streaming anywhere, Sly? You tell me.
Alas, 'tis not.
No, it is not. Yet again, an amazing.
If you want to watch the show.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Semi shout out to Max. I mean, fuck you, Max. But like semi shout out. At least you have the shows on there, so that's something.
Yeah, thank God that's on there.
The movies on there.
Yeah, it'd be really nice that you didn't randomly take off a bunch of content for no goddamn reason, David Zaslav. Anyway. So hit us with the plot recap.
You. Please work with us.
Yeah, please, God. We need the money.
The plot recap. This one's hefty. I'm really excited about it. All right. In the latter 21st century Gotham City, the Jokers, with a Z, a street gang enamored of the city's infamous crown prince of crime, is breaking into a high-tech engineering plant to steal a powerful generator, a crime stopped by the new Batman, Terry McGinnis, and which puzzles Terry and his mentor, the elderly, original Batman, Bruce Wayne. The reason for this and other geek-drunk thefts is a mystery, even to the Joker's gang, who are now working for someone claiming to be the original Joker himself. When he makes an appearance at a charity function attended by Bruce Wayne, cover to steal another generator, the Joker taunts Wayne and later sends his minions to attack Terry McGinnis while he attacks the Batcave. But the original Joker died 40 years earlier, and why does this new Joker want high-tech items? What a shaken Commissioner Barbara Gordon, thank you. That was a me edition. Explains the fate of the original Joker. Terry begins to piece the twin mysteries together, culminating in a confrontation with the Joker that literally threatens the very existence of Gotham City. Thank you, Michael Daly, for that thrilling plot recap we got.
Good job, Michael. Good job. Very proud of you. It's been a while since we had an IMDb breakdown. I did want to do a shout out real quick of two actors. I forgot because I wanted to put them on there. They're just to me, I love them. Henry Rollins has a quick vocal cameo as I believe his name is Chunk, Chucko. No, is it Chucko or no Bonk? He dies very early on. He's one of the early. Bonk, yeah. And the other one is Dean Stockwell, and I knew that name was bothering me as I saw it in the credits, and now I just looked it up as you were talking. He plays Sam in Quantum Leap. If anyone's very old like me, so anybody in the 30 and the 40s range, he's in Quantum Leap, and
I
I
thought
feel
you meant like you were born in the 30s or the 40s. It's like,
no,
Carlos, you're not that old.
no, I feel that when I podcast with you, but no, no.
Incredible. All right. The comic characters we have in here, do you want to say what they actually are, or do you want me to read what I wrote in
No,
our
I want you to
notes?
read what you wrote. I like it.
All right. Because I was trying to think, and like most of these characters, especially in the Beyond universe, were like Beyond originals. Like they weren't from the comics, as far as I'm aware, right?
No, Terry came in
So
after. Yeah, so
yeah, a lot of these characters show up. Like Joker Jr. later gets like a comic run or whatever, but it really originated. So it was kind of slim's pickings. So I just like went off memory. So I wrote Batman, Joker, Timmers, Babs, and Harleen, which I love to full name Harley. I don't know why.
well, she gets some respect. She is a doctor, you know.
Yeah,
we got to show her some respect.
Doctor
Dr. Harleen
Doctor
Quinzel.
Harleen. Yeah,
I also love your random nicknames for Robin number 3, aka Timmers.
Timmers, Timberly. Yeah,
to, be,
love
to
a
be fair,
nickname.
Tim Drake, and not because of the events that happen in this movie or out of it, but animated series Tim Drake is nothing compared to his comic book counterpart, who's literally like the only other person Ra's al Ghul has ever called the detective. You know, like he's on that level. Like Tim Drake. This Tim Drake is like, eh.
This we'll talk about this
Yeah.
Tim Drake. Yeah. All my respect to Robin number 3. He does a lot of stuff. He does a lot of great stuff. Some might say too OP. But I I like my always forgotten, very dramatic Jane Austen loving bitch.
exactly. exactly. Um. So yeah, let's get right into it real quick. We both, you said you liked the movie, which is awesome. I love this movie. I love this film. We're gonna kick it off with the Andrea Romano roundup, as always. We like to shout out Andrea Romano, the amazing voice director who voice directed this movie, as well. And I wanted to touch on two things as I was watching because this is the first time we see Neo Gotham, and now we, as viewers of these past couple movies, have seen Gotham and as well Metropolis in this very older, like Gotham in the anime series has this timeless like 20s, 30s, 40s kind of look to it, and to see it jump so much far ahead with Neo Gotham, I wanted to talk about the architecture in DC universe here. Not that we're both any of us are, you know, have degrees in architecture. But
Yeah.
we could like
I love
a
a
tall building.
bridge.
Yeah.
I had a moment where I was really into um like the idea of like civil engineering. I don't know. Again, no
Yeah.
experts, no degrees. But yeah, to prep for this because I had never like watched Beyond all the way through, I wanted a like quick refresher before jumping in. I did the same thing with the animated series before we
Hmm.
started this podcast. And I was trying to figure out what to watch, and everybody was on the internet was like, you don't really need anything. So I only watched the first 2 episodes, and then everybody said it took place after King's Ransom, which was season 3, episode 1. So I watched that episode. So I watched Rebirth 1 and 2 and King's Ransom before this. So I had already gotten like a bit of a feel for the style and the look. Other than like what I've seen and like random clips and like screen grabs,
Oh
that you
yeah.
just encounter being in fandom, right? Like I it's really weird talking about these things that I like vaguely and like loosely know just from existing like adjacent to them, and then having to be like, well, yeah, like this is kind of familiar, but also I have no idea what the fuck I'm talking about. Um, I think it's really interesting. I love old like takes on what the future looks like.
Mm-hmm.
Especially like we're currently in the year of our Lord 2024. So this movie is
Yeah, nothing looks like this.
24 years old.
Yeah.
25 years old. 25. That's how math works. Um and we love like a flying hover car. We love buildings that just are like bright colors now, I guess, but look vaguely blockish like we're used to. And then really randomly shaped like tall skinny base and the weird oblong tops.
We're like, how?
Uh
What
yeah, we're
science do
like,
you
okay,
have?
all right. Yeah, science, gravity, physics in this universe.
Not a thing.
Don't
Not
know
a
her,
thing.
but it's interesting. It's a really distinct, like easily identifiable like landscape, and that's the thing about like the classic like Gotham skyline. It's so like recognizable, and for this to be able to say we're going to evoke the same feelings but do it in a very different way. It's really interesting to look at how they design like art style of the city.
Yeah, I don't blame them. Obviously, that you could tell they're heavily inspired by like very like you have stuff like, let's say, Coruscant, and I mean, obviously I think that came in after this movie came. Oh, no, at least we would have seen it at least in episode 1, maybe in Star Wars. But how that city goes up and down, Akira, Blade Runner, like all these very neo noir, these cyberpunk aesthetics that we've seen before, how they built up, and the lower you get to the ground, the worse it is, like your living situation.
Mm-hmm.
I think it is interesting to see that you could definitely tell they like focused on that section of sci-fi. Just briefly, as you were talking, I wanted to look up what was the roundabout for the year that Batman Beyond takes place, and
Mm-hmm.
apparently it's 2020. Um, yeah,
Incredible.
yeah.
Ouch.
I would like to live in this 2020. I feel like this 2020
Mm-hmm.
with the Joker gangs, and anything like that. Still rather deal with that than orange person who's running for president again. Again, Lex Luthor, I mean, he's got one bad thing. He doesn't like aliens.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
I mean,
literal aliens.
it kind of influences every single decision and life choice he makes, and he's kind of an egomaniac.
Yeah.
But like, so are most politicians. So like, he actually kind
Yeah.
of runs a pretty tight ship.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, like I don't
I feel
like
like at the
him, but
polls I'd have
like,
been like, ah, man, I really don't like his stance on Superman. But, the guy was doing pretty good. Kind of sucks.
he's
Yeah.
doing the job.
Yeah.
Like,
He's like, damn, you know what? Superman, I think Superman's fine. I think he's going to be okay.
yeah.
you know? Oh, man. Alternate, like, he would have been independent as well. He's not going to be Republican. Come on, man. No.
Oh.
Now, Lex is definitely independent. He don't want to be with anybody. But no, it's interesting to see here. And then,
He's above all that.
yeah, he just, you see this in the series. You also get a brief glimpse of Metropolis, and it's funny because it's very similar to how you mentioned it has this like worldview where if you've seen Superman the animated series, if you've seen Justice League, if you've seen Batman the animated series, it's familiar enough that like it is Gotham. It doesn't feel alien. This truly feels how Gotham would have progressed with a lot more technology, a lot more money, manpower, and things like that. Then building vertically, kind of those very Japanese styles that you see where there's like kind of parks on roofs and things like that. Or Shanghai, I believe, has like a building where it's like there's a lot of parks on roofs, so there's like a lot of foliage and things like that. It's really cool. I wanted to shout that out because I really love how Neo Gotham looks specifically in this. And I do love the trope of science fiction as the worse, the lower you get, the worse your social status is and how much money you make. It's like, yeah, you can't afford to live up here. You live down there.
Uh-huh.
It feels apropos for 2024. Now I wanted to talk about, I titled it here, and we kind of alluded to it, A Fate Worse Than Death, The Plight of Being a Robin. Because spoilers, Timmers gets it probably the worst out of any Robin in any source material, I think. Uh
He always, I feel like Timmy always gets the short end of the stick,
oh
but
yeah.
he really does here. Jesus fucking Christ.
Yeah, that's why I put a
Um,
plate worse in death, because as I was rewatching this, and I knew of the twist, I knew of everything. We'll spoil it here. The Joker that we see is a almost like a phantom Joker.
we get into that.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the fact that my boy Jason constantly erased? Not even mentioned. We get Dick
Yep.
Grayson. He's being Nightwing. Immediate drum cut.
Yep. Nope.
All right.
We'll skip
I
over
guess we
that
can
guy.
only have, yeah, we can only have one traumatic Joker related incident per
For Robin,
Robin
yeah.
in
In universe, yeah, and Tim
yeah.
Drake was the one that got it in this one. And he got it arguably again
Oh, it's
worse
bad.
than Jason. Jason dies. There's a
Yeah, I
release,
mean Jason has to come back.
which is
So
rough. Yeah, that is very terrible. Roz did make the best decision. Talia did some stuff she shouldn't have to him, comic book wise. Let's not talk about that. Yeah, but Tim has just the brainwashing. Would they say? They say it was what, 3 weeks he was missing.
yeah, he was missing 3 weeks. So what happens to Tim is there's a woman who screams needing help from like people beating her up, and uh Mr. I almost said Mr. Robin is magic. That's not Tim. That's Jason.
Yeah.
Mr. I don't know. Robin is Hope, I guess. Jumps
Yeah.
down and rescues one Harleen Quinzel, who then knocks him out and kidnaps him because apparently her abusive captor jailer has decided that they need a child, an heir, a progeny to carry on the legacy of
Mhm.
the Joker. And so they torture and brainwash and manipulate and implant Tim Drake into becoming Joker Jr. Poor thing. That
Ugh.
horrifying. Absolutely
Absolutely
horrifying.
horrifying. Yeah, absolutely. Like the look that he has, like the even him with the grin, it doesn't feel natural. Like it feels like it
Hmm.
hurts. Like seeing his face, it's contorted that way. And this is I alluded to this last week because that's the disconnect I had with watching Batman and Harley Quinn, knowing that this is in universe. Is
Hmm.
like this has to take place before the incidents of Batman Beyond. Obviously, Harley is presumed dead. We'll get to that, as we talk about some notes.
Hmm.
But it's just sad to see Harley be so independent, be so like, yeah, everything's good. We're all right. Fuck Joker, fuck, I'm my own person and all this other stuff. To then sadly fall back into the pit of Joker. And this Harley specifically always falls back in line, with Joker. And then she has a line that I didn't remember for the longest time. I thought she was more, she's very culpable what happens to Tim.
Hmm. Yeah,
But
she is an active participant in
yeah,
the horrors that take place.
and it screams of like an abusive relationship, so much so because obviously she is in one. But when her and Batgirl are having her fight, and it's like, look what you did, and she's like, yeah, he roughed him up a bit, but I could be a mother to him. And there is that thing, right? That
She said something about like doing her, like trying her best or whatever,
yeah,
and I'm like, ouch!
yeah,
like you are doing some horrific shit, and like I understand like that is like absolutely not forgivable. But however, Harley has such a special place in my heart. I don't want to be an apologist, but I'm
yeah.
like,
It's
girl,
it
you're
was
trying your best.
so it was so sad. It just struck me as so sad to see this specific version of Harley be like, obviously she wants children, and she thinks going back to Joker will do that. And there's so many people in that situation in real life, and it's very hard to see. It's very heartbreaking. And if you're in that situation, seek help. Do not stay. But we'll make it work for the kids, like that kind of thing. And this is physically, emotionally manipulative, abusive, everything like that he
Mhm.
is. And it's so sad to see her be like, yeah, he roughed up Tim a bit, but I can be a mom to him. I'll make it better.
Yeah.
Like, it's just like, God
Yeah.
damn it, Harley. Fuck,
The
it's
like
so sad.
emotional disconnect that she has to like
Mm-hmm.
e- exist in to justify like her like situation is
Yeah.
so easy to see, for us as, people who analyze stories for content for a
Yeah,
living.
exactly, right?
But also like thinking about like what it must be like for them to make that choice for the character, and for the character to be so lost in their own world that that is a justification. Like, I can make it good. Like, I can, like, sure, we tortured him a bit, but like it's okay because he'll have a family who like cares about him.
Ugh.
And not like realizing that like that's like destroying his life and taking him away from like the family who did love him and were like tirelessly searching for him for like 3 weeks straight,
Mm,
to just like, I don't know, it's devastating. It was so well done. It was
yeah.
incredible.
And Joker has, like, he knows what he's doing. He knows specifically that he's hurting
Oh yeah.
Bruce. He knows he's hurting Babs. He knows he's hurting his family so much because he gets a kick out of it. Like that, this is what he loves. It's so heartbreaking. And it's funny to
His
not funny.
passion.
Yeah, right. It's truly his passion. But we're talking about like 99, 2000 when this movie came out. So if they're writing it, maybe 98, maybe 99, they're writing this movie. We haven't. I don't think Harley's a comic book character yet. So she doesn't even have her storylines where she breaks away from Joker, and that doesn't really kick off even more so to the New 52. Like, I mean, you get some stuff with the Gotham City Sirens and her own storylines early in her comic book runs, but it really isn't, to at least in my understanding, the New 52 is like kind of where she's like, they separate her for obvious reasons, like, oh, she's super popular, just put her with the Suicide Squad, and it's like, oh,
Mhm.
there's other bad things that happen there, but or stuff we don't like there. But she becomes more independent and more like, no, fuck you. And now she's almost basically a hero for the most part, and this is now what we see, the modern interpretation of Harley that we get with like Margot Robbie's Harley. Who knows what we'll see out of Lady Gaga later this year. Hopefully, I'm sure she's going to be good in this movie. I don't know how the rest of that movie is going to be, and I'm sure the music is going to be amazing. Who knows? Um, but it's just it's funny to see these two, like Tim and Deanie, have that idea, that there is something redeemable in this character. I bet she's just stuck in a really shitty situation. And I don't think, as a young kid, I did not pick up on that at all. Like, I was just
Mhm.
like, she's a bad guy. There's a clear line. It's black and white. And it's not. It's not. And I think it's as you get older, as you see the world in truer adult eyes, you're like, oh, well, there's a lot of gray area. And this is, fortunately, this is a gray area that goes, it's basically all black. Like, it's right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's basically with one toe in the gray. But everything else is black.
Exactly. Yeah.
But
It's
it
like
just struck me as so
we
sad.
understand what you could be, and that's why we were like extending a bit of grace to her, right?
Hmm.
And but no, straight up villainous like actions here.
Yeah, like between her and Joker alone, I personally feel like they've done the worst thing they could do so far. We've seen in anything in the animated series or Justice League. Like, Darkseid's out there with the anti-life equation at the end of fucking Justice League Unlimited. Nothing compares to what Joker does in this movie. Like, yeah, it
And
just
the
sucks.
difference, I think, is it is targeted. It is specific. It
Hmm.
is taking out a specific person and doing these horrible, unredeemable things to him to ruin both his life and his mentor's life. Like, it's not like a grand, like, sweeping, like, destroy everything, right? It's like
Hmm.
malicious and it's planned. And I think that's what makes it truly horrific.
Yeah, and just to touch upon that scene real quick, like looking at my notes, I was like, I put like sad backstory time because I knew it was coming. I was like, and then I was wondering, obviously we joke joke and also groan about the fact that in the animated series, Babs and Bruce have a moment and stuff happens. So is this before or after? You know, they obviously that was retcon later on, so we don't know. Um, when Bruce is cutting himself out of that like little rope thing and just seeing Tim for the first time, he throws the knife right at Joker. He's not like aiming for his shoulder. He's aiming for his head. And because he's so angry and thrown off, Joker's able to just like slyly just like kind of go, oh, and like dodge it. But like he wanted to kill him right there. And he, you know, has a line. He's like, I'm gonna break you in two. And
Hmm.
Joker's like, nah, you like you wouldn't do that. Like, that's my thing. Like I'll kill you.
Yeah.
You're not gonna kill me. It's just so intense to see how pissed Bruce is in this. And I honestly think at this moment, like it with nobody behind him, and if Tim wasn't in the room at all, I think Bruce would have killed him. Like I think it would have. But Tim, given the choice of like nurture versus nature, which is, you know, Joker being like, shoot your father with this
Hmm.
gun, or shoot, you know, well, basically just shoot Bruce, but he ends up shooting uh, Joker. And Joker has a line like, wow, that's not funny. And then dies. And Tim's laughing, then turns into crying, is so goddamn heartbreaking. It is so heartbreaking to just see him utterly just fucking fade. Like he's just done. He's so mentally traumatized by anything and everything, and it's just Barbara just holding him, just holding, showing her caring side. It's so sad to see, and it's sadly, I mean, it's weird to say, it's really well done, like piece of media, like showing something so horrible and giving a definitive death to the Joker, a way out for Harley. We'll talk about that soon. Uh, but it's just so
I think
fucking
it's
sad.
really interesting to look at like the morality between Bruce and his various Robins, because like if you go down the line, like Dick moonlights as a cop for a hot minute. He's definitely shot and killed people. Like it's the police. Like
Yeah.
we know what's going on there. Jason, of course, goes full, heads in a duffel bag. Tim, does a stint in the league, faces off with Rachel al Ghul. Like he
Yeah.
didn't get out of there unscathed, right? He was definitely dropping bodies as he made his way through the ranks.
Stephanie incites a
Um,
goddamn gang war in Gotham.
yeah. I love her so much.
Me too.
Yeah, she's like gang war. Why not? And then Damien, was raised in the league.
Yeah.
Uh, Definitely, dropped a couple bodies way before he should have. Um, but sometimes it's just the way you're raised, right? So it was really interesting to see this Bruce who did aim for the Joker's head. And earlier, I think I might have my timeline mixed up in the movie. There's a shot of him beheading Harvey.
Oh
He
yeah.
has the little Two-Face statue, and he like batarangs like knocks his head off. And I was like, damn, okay, like they're really setting up this Batman as Batman who has like it kind of
Seen
lost that
everything. Yeah.
integrity. And that's why he retired in the first place, right? He was about to kill somebody with a gun, which is like his like
Hmm.
biggest trigger, like his like one line or whatever
Yeah.
that he draws for himself. Um and so for this universe to really cement that like Batsy could kill a man and
He
be
could. He
completely
could.
fine with it. All
Even
right.
yeah, Terry has a line early when he's discussing, you know, Joker and everything like going on. He's like out of all the villains, all the freaks that you fought, you never mentioned this one. And
Oh, right, when Terry assumes he killed
he
Joker,
assumes he killed
and
them,
before he gets the full story, yeah.
and that's to say that like even at that point like he knows of Frost, or Freeze. He knows of Bane. He's already probably interacted with them. If we're at season 3, yeah, he's interacted with a few of them,
Mhm.
or like future versions of them at some point in time. He's in this weird spot. He knows so much about all these villains, Mad Hatter and things like that. But for Bruce to never say anything clicks for Terry, like there must be something here. And if he's definitely dead, you killed him. I get it.
Mhm.
And he's fine with it. He's
Yeah,
like, okay. He's like, no, I get it.
as he should.
Yeah.
Fucking, like, clinically insane, homicidal maniac, mass murderer. Like, there's a reason there's systems to remove those people from society, right?
Yeah.
Like,
To,
he
to
shows
steal a
zero
line,
remorse.
yeah, to steal a line
Yeah.
from another movie we'll watch down the line. We're not talking about Two Face. We're not talking about Penguin. We're talking about him.
Uh-huh.
Just him. And that's it. Like it when we get to that movie, that's going to be our drama class specific to as well,
Yeah.
that scene. But that movie does a great job of really truly making, like, look, I love Batman, I love Nightwing, obviously, and stuff. I got him fucking tattooed on me and shit like that. I love the Bat family, but that character's not wrong. Jason's not wrong. Like,
Mhm.
it's just him, not everyone
Again, it's
else.
not.
Yeah, it's just him, dude. Just him. Freeze, you could like talk to for a certain. Matt Hatter is just a little weirdo that like has really good gadgets. You could stop him. Scarecrow's a little bit worrisome, but like you're fine. Bane, just take his drugs away. Like there's like ways. This motherfucker needs to die. Like that's it.
Mhm.
Joker needs to die, dude. Look at all the damage he does, and then and it again, not even just meeting Joker once. I guess maybe the impact of this cult of Joker that we have in Neo Gotham, the Joker's gang, these multiple groups that try to imitate the Joker, that we've seen. I think maybe that's what Terry's like. Well, look, this dude's been dead for like 40 years, 30 years, but he's so influential in this horrible community that like there's so many gangs out there that try to imitate him. Like so many people try to imitate him, and you've never said a goddamn word about him. So what happened?
Yeah.
It's just, man, it's just so fucking sad. And then I did want to shout out this because I know we both love this character. Dr. Leslie Tompkins gets mentioned as helping
I love
rehab
her
Tim.
so much. Yeah.
So
Uh-huh. As she should.
man,
I love her so much. When I was doing my quick abridged version of watching through the animated series, I was like following a guide of like the like absolute must watch episodes or whatever.
hmm
And then I saw none of the Leslie episodes were on there, and I was like, we're watching all of those.
yeah,
I love her so much.
every one of them. Yeah, she's such a great character. And even in Gotham, like they did such a good job of like adapting that character. Um, but yeah, man, this watching this movie, I was like, all right, so I'm so used to the death of Jason or death of a Robin and anything like that. Stephanie, unfortunately for the longest time. This one, it just felt like a living nightmare, almost worse.
Mhm.
Like there's so many times we see like villains do something to someone. It's like a fate worse than death, and it truly is for Tim. Like constantly, like, he talks about the nightmares he has. He's always sleeping. He's hearing him. And he thinks it's because of the of the trauma. No, it's because he's got a little fucking happy face chip right on a little mole in the back of his neck.
Don't get me started on the fucking chip. But yeah, no, like to experience like such a traumatic, like nearly month-long event, right? To end with him like killing his captor and then immediately being like removed from like the one like stability and family he's known until he was that, and to have to go through like this horrible like deconditioning process to then try to lead a normal life when like especially like most versions of Tim like has been involved in this since he was way too small of a child. Like he doesn't know what normal looks like.
Mm-mm.
And to have that constant presence, the hearing the voices, the nightmares, the constant reminder of like the worst moment of your life. Because like I don't get me started. A fucking DNA embedded microchip. What does that even mean? Like, okay, all right, we're just suspending the disbelief.
Yeah,
Sure,
the
whatever.
fact that he has an orbital satellite and he's calling down orbital strikes like it's Call of Duty, uh, or
Yeah,
Gears of War. Like you got the
sure.
perk unlocked. This is where we're like, oh, we're in the future. We could do some crazy shit here. But
Yeah, the
it's
future world of 2020.
oh god, it's so crazy. But it's funny though, not funny, but like thinking of like it's funny to see that Barbara's the only one who reaches out, right? So we obviously
Mhm.
know Dick is very distant in this universe, but it's sad, like he hates Bruce so much that he's not even gonna check on Robin. He and got you have people like Terry, and you have people like I think in the comic book series they also check in on Tim quite a few times, like through rehab and stuff like, hey, you doing good? How you doing, Mr. Drake? Like Terry's very, very nice that way, and Barbara's really good. But you do get that recollection or reconciliation at the end with Bruce
Mhm.
finally showing up, like fucking 30 years too late, Bruce, just like fucking always.
If
You,
Bruce Wayne is not emotionally constipated, it's not Bruce Wayne. Like if that man
yeah,
has a shred of emotional intelligence, I'm like, who is this character? Like, unfortunately, that tracks. I do think it's funny that in every universe that has a tragic end to a Robin, uh, Dick Grayson is so far up his own ass with his relationship with Bruce that he's not around.
he always misses the bad
And
thing.
unfortunately, he has to deal with the emotional ramifications of not showing up and what that fallout looks like. But yeah, he's not in the picture. Babs is doing her best, but she's like, I have a career. I am a career woman. I am
She's
doing
yeah,
my
she's a
job.
family. She has a kid in this
She has
universe and a husband.
family. Yeah.
She is literally Reba McEntire. She's a single mom who works two jobs. Like that's what
Yeah.
it feels like. I want that. I want someone to animate that somehow. Just her with the trench coat and just be like, all the like the Reba things, like looking in the camera. Like, it'd be great. God.
That'll be incredible. I need that edit on my desk by Monday. Thank you very
Also,
much.
let's talk about the
Uh,
emotional maturity of Barbara Gordon in like the future, right? Like and thinking of all the shit that we mentioned in previous episodes of what happens to her and Bruce, her and Dick. And she's just like, y'all got to get your shit together. I know everyone's angry with everyone, but come on. We got to, that face.
Game just ended. Not to completely take this.
Oh no.
Okay.
Yeah, well, we always do it in one
Uh,
episode.
we
Stanley
always
Cup
do it
Game
once an
7.
episode. Yeah. 2-1 Florida Panthers are your 2024 Stanley Cup
Hell, that's
champions.
fucking awesome.
Whew. Okay, we can cut that from the podcast.
Sorry, Harv.
Sorry Canada, but man, I didn't know who I was rooting for until this game. Like every game I was just like, I don't know who it is.
I'm not too emotionally
And then
invested.
this game, as soon as Florida got up 2-1, I was like, yes, like I'm rooting for them
Let's
so hard. They're
do
my
it.
pick.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Okay,
Um,
back.
yeah, back to Neo Gotham and Fate Worse Than Death. No, yeah, I just wanted to touch upon that. I think that was like a really interesting thing to have within this movie. It's just so fucking sad. It's such a crux on this movie. Um, I didn't really talk about the movie in general. I love all the voice work from these specific splinter group of the Jokers. As I mentioned, Michael Rosenbaum doing his best fucking Christopher Walken impression as Ghoul. I love Melissa Joan Hart as the twins Dee Dee. Let's talk about Dee Dee and their Nana.
Oh my gosh, the scream I screamed. They were so iconic throughout the whole like
Yo,
movie.
they
You know,
whoop
they were
ass in this
yeah.
movie.
They are so badass and they are like truly holding that team together. Like obviously they're like just following orders, but everybody else is kind of like either a buffoon or a wrecking ball or just kind of like all over the place and they are organized and meticulous and so in sync and can like execute very well, and they are great fighters.
Mm-hmm.
They whoop
Oh,
some
when they steal
ass.
Terry at the club,
Uh-huh.
they're like, "We're
Yeah.
cutting in," and they just push Dana out the way, and they start dancing with Terry, and he's like, "What the like, what the fuck is going on right now?"
Mhm. And then when we get to the end, their bail has been posted. They're walking out with their grandma, who's berating them, and we get the name drop. Nana Harley.
Yeah, shut up, Nana Harley, and she smacks both of them with the quickness in the
Yeah.
ass with her cane. Oh my god.
Love
I also
tap on
love
the
that
ass.
she's just
Yeah.
this little fucking old little New York lady. She's so
Yeah.
cute and old. I love it. She probably makes the best goddamn cookies, you know?
Hmm.
Like, but it's so crazy because obviously we get the hint that maybe Harley, perished in the final fight between Joker and Batman. But,
With the
Babs mentions,
horrifying scene of like Babs like diving after or falling over with her and grabbing her and
yeah,
watching the sleeve rip as she falls into this cannon.
yeah,
Like shit. I will say though, good for her. A, surviving that fall. B, remaking her life,
yeah,
starting over, being a family woman
yeah,
apparently,
she,
having some grandkids. Like
yeah.
good for her.
It's kind of what she wanted. So in a weird way, it's
Joker said and she got what she wanted. Good
yeah,
for her.
yeah, good for her.
I think I think Dr. Harleen wins this movie for me. I think
Exactly.
she got everything she wanted. Good
Again, we're
for
not
her.
condoning, her actions,
I'm not
but
condoning her actions,
she
but
does
it worked
have
out for her in the end.
she does have grandkids. They're little assholes, a little rebellious, like probably like her. They remind her probably of her younger self. But Melissa Joe
Her
Hart,
criminal
man,
days.
yeah, she probably like enjoys it. She's like, ugh, you're not doing it right. This is how Nana did it back in my day. It's like, all right, Nana, whatever. How do you think she's angry? Like the first time she saw them in the makeup, she's like, "You motherfuckers, you're not supposed to
I
be
think
with these
she's
two."
disappointed that they're not as hardcore. They're in a like casual street gang. Like they're not doing hard crime.
Yeah, they're just literally just teenagers who like down with society. Joker was right.
I feel like everybody in the 3 episodes of Beyond I watched, I feel like everybody's gang affiliated. I think it's just kind of like the vibe of the city, and
Yeah.
so like that's like obviously they had some influence on which gang they chose, but like before uh, Mr. Tim Joker comes around, like the Jokers are relatively harmless. Like they're
Oh yeah.
not like they're causing problems and fucking shit up, but they're not
But
like
it's never anything insane, Like it's never anything
no.
that's good. It's never anything that's gonna be like world ending, like Joker does in this movie, or he's trying to destroy all of goddamn Gotham with an orbital strike. But yeah, it is fun to see Dee Dee and that little. I freaked out as a kid when I saw that. It was just like, "Shut up, Nana Harley." I was like, "Wait, what?" Oh my god, she made it out of it. Which at the time it was angering because it was like, "Oh, the bad guy lived." It was like, "Well, no, hold on, she kind of deserves to live, man. She's been through some shit."
She's been through some shit. She finally got to escape the abusive relationship. She's living her life. She's not kidnapping more children,
No,
theoretically.
yeah, I would
So
hope not, right? She's
yeah, hopefully.
Nana Harley, where did you get our father? Oh, he was at a grocery store one day. I just picked him up.
Oh, unfortunately, I can see that happening. So I retract my last point. But other than that, she's doing great.
She probably picks up this kid. I'm your mommy now. No,
Hopefully, at least it was like a street kid that she took in or
it's
something.
Gotham, man. There's so many of them. Who knows? If it ain't Bruce, it's gonna be her.
Can you imagine the odds of getting adopted in Gotham is either the richest man in the world or,
A
a
poor
mentally
psychopath.
ill.
No,
It's, yeah,
sociopath. That's right. She
sociopath.
was
Yeah.
she was angry about that last time.
Yeah, those are your two options. It's one or the other. It's a coin flip.
I saw a really cool animation thing that I thought you would appreciate. When Terry is driving Bruce back to the manor, and Bruce is giving him his little dickish spiel like he always does. The limousine that they drive is an
Mhm.
upside down Batmobile. It's
Yeah,
literally
like,
that flipped.
is it like mirrored? Okay, it super resembled a Batmobile,
Yeah,
and I
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, oh, that's interesting. They like futurified it. I love that it's just like flipped upside
That's
down.
it. Yeah.
Like, how do we make it futuristic? Just like flip the like
No wheels and flip
vector
it
of
upside
energy.
down. It's like, okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It looks
Okay,
cool as hell
or
too. It's
just reuse the asset.
also the random Captain America joke in 2000. Like this
Where
is
did that
pre
come from?
MCU. There's like we're talking maybe like Heroes Reborn Captain America was around at this time with the big fucking super big chest from Rob Liefeld that goes out to here on the panels and stuff for some reason. He's got the Pam Anderson chest, like he was drawn. Like why is there a Captain America joke in this movie? It's so random. Nowadays would make
No idea.
sense.
Yeah,
Like this
it
DC
it
universe, yeah,
it
sure.
aged hilariously, but
Yeah.
like,
Oh, would he get frozen out of ice chunks like Captain America? What the fuck? Who loves Captain America on this team? It's probably Bruce Timm, honestly, because I think he's drawn him a
fair
couple
enough.
times.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, what did I want to touch upon too? Yeah, Jokerized Bruce. That was scary as hell.
Mhm.
Ace was awesome. I did want to give a shout out to
Ace
Ace
is
the Bad
always
Hound,
great.
and I love that Terry brings him into the fight. He's like, "Oh, I
Mhm.
forgot something," and then he's just in the car. I was like, "Fuck yeah, man!"
Yeah,
As someone
gotta
who
tell
owns a
them
dog, now
right.
mind you, my dog is dumb, and he only has 3 legs. Yeah, if I could train him and we were vigilantes together, I'd bring him on
Mhm.
missions. I feel like it'd
Oh
be
yeah.
fun. It'd be fun. I like my dog. I love, but also named after a broke white boy, Bucky Barnes. Shout out to Bucky Barnes, the
Speaking
pit
of
bull.
broken white boys,
Terry
I
McGinnis.
was not prepared for the Terry McGinnis backstory to hit me that hard. I was like, oh
Dude,
shit.
yeah, I love that. I love that because you kind of get a little bit of that in the series, but it's more focused on like I'm
Mhm.
getting revenge on my dad dying, and all that shit. And he's
Mhm.
like, "No, I was a bad kid. Batman makes me feel better. Like, it's helping
Mhm.
me atone for my sins." I'm like,
Yeah,
"God damn,
like
Terry."
him being, like, it makes me like feel like I he had something about it making him feel like he has like a he deserves to like live or something like that. That line is just like, ah, shit, you've got me. I'm invested now. I care about you doing well emotionally, and I was
And,
not prepared for that.
and then think about too the context. Obviously, we get to that episode of Justice League Unlimited. That shows a future Terry who's like older. He's an adult now. Established he's like ripped for now he's big. On the eve of proposing to Dana, and dealing with Bruce just being Bruce and his disillusion with being Batman and finding out his origin. Like he doesn't know his origin at this point, but he knows how
Mhm.
important it is for him to be Batman. And then Bruce reiterating like, no, 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 it's not like Batman making you better. You're making Batman better. And like you're right, you're not a Robin. You are Batman. And you're this Batman. You're your own Batman. It's really interesting because neither of them at this moment, I don't Bruce probably never finds out that Terry's
Mhm.
his kid, his biological
Yeah.
kid. And it's just how crazy it is that they're both Batman. They're their own Batman. And they like Bruce giving him that final seal of approval, like, no, no, you make this better. You're doing this better than I ever did. So don't even worry about it. Yeah, so good. Uh that last fight, obviously we're gonna get into a drama class and we'll talk about it too, because I
Oh
put the whole
yeah.
goddamn thing in there. I absolutely love that that fight so much. We'll
Mhm.
touch upon it more in drama class. But before we do that, any notes? Anything you want to talk about?
The last thing, I mentioned pretty much all my notes, but I did have a really chippy comment in my notes, alluding to the aforementioned scene where Bruce slices the head off the Two-Face
Yeah.
mannequin, and his propensity to do that to his own children.
Yep. Yep.
That's it. Moving on. Let's get a drama class.
So as always, drama class is a holdover from MC University, but we like to, highlight certain scenes. I just chose a whole ass scene. Like literally beginning to end, this whole scene, my favorite scene in the whole movie. One of my favorite scenes in any animated movie, because it really phones in who Terry McGinnis is, not only as Batman, but as like his own man. He is this, like I said earlier in the top of the show, he is this dickish version of Peter Parker. He has so many quips, so many one-liners, but in that like skew to that Batman-esque. Like he's a little dark still, you know. Um, so who you want to be, Joker or you want to be Terry?
I want you to be Terry, so
Okay.
I guess that makes me Joker, which we'll see how this goes.
Okay. Also love that I put this in here. It was like he puts Joker in an arm lock. He hits him in the ball sack. He just straight up Terry McGinnis punches him in the ball sack. I don't know why IMDb puts him in an arm lock. Like Joker's been in an arm lock before. That's not fighting dirty.
The edited cut.
Yeah, right. He's like, oh, my arm lock.
Okay. Oh, it starts with me. All right. What are you doing?
Fighting dirty.
The real Batman would never. Ooh.
Told you didn't know me.
Funny guy.
Can't say the same for you.
Impudent brat. Who do you think you're talking to?
Not a comedian, I'll tell you that.
Cross the laser pistol? I don't remember the laser pistol. Sorry. Shut your mouth.
Retreats to rafters. The real Batman never talked to you much, did he? That's probably why you were so fixated on him. Throws batarang.
Don't play
Knocks.
psycho.
I was like, throws batarang, knocks pistol out of hand.
Don't play psychoanalyst with me, boy.
Oh, I don't need a degree to figure you out. Hits the lights with a batarang, plunging the room into darkness. The real reason you kept coming back was you never got a laugh out of the old man.
I'm not hearing this.
Get a clue, Clowny. He's got no sense of humor. He wouldn't know a good joke if it bit him in the cape. Not that you ever had a good joke.
Shut up!
I mean, joy buzzers, squirting flowers, lame. Where's the A material? Make a face, drop your pants, something.
Show yourself.
You make me laugh, but only because I think you're kind of pathetic.
Stop that.
So you fell in a tank of acid, got your skin bleached, and decided to become a supervillain. What? You couldn't get a job as a rodeo clown?
Don't you dare laugh at me.
Why? I thought the Joker always wanted to make Batman laugh.
Not Batman!
Fucking great. I love it. I love it just from jump. Again, just Terry just straight up punching him in the dick. So Batman wouldn't. I feel like he would do. Maybe.
It's not really Bruce's style.
Nah. But Terry's from the streets.
He has
That's a
some
Jason
class.
thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It really is.
That's a Jason move. Yeah. Jason will punch you in the dick and then shoot you in the face. That's
Yeah. He might punch you in the face and then shoot you in the dick, but same difference.
Depends on the day. Depends on the day.
Depends on the actions of the person.
Yeah, true. Did you hit that person or did you do something else? I hit him.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm going to punch you in the dick now. Oh no.
Yeah.
It's a segment that we don't get to bring up often. We got to bring it up during the Batman. What I'm assuming Bruce was inspired by to make the Batman Beyond suit. The Kate Duquesne Mystery of the Batwoman had a song, an amazing song there. Bet You Never. Now we have one that I totally forgot about until the dancing scene, and then I saw the credits. Static X, who is a very like. Think Deftones, but like it more industrial and like a little weirder and a little more like, you know how there's like a little mellow Deftones, if you heard them. This is
Mhm.
like a little more punchier, you know. They teamed up with a Swedish house band, I believe, Mephisto Odyssey, for a song named Crash that plays during all the dancing scenes with Terry and Dana in that club, which fucking just perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That
Love.
felt
We
so
didn't talk about
futuristic.
him dancing in the club, falling asleep, and then ends up dancing with another girl on accident. Hilarious.
And I love Dana being like, just leave the pot of coffee. Just it's okay. Let's take a break from day. I really want to go dancing, but you need some rest, sir.
Yeah.
You are tired. She's a very forgiving girlfriend, and then hopefully spouse. We don't know what their status is in the DC animated universe. We know he was going to pop a question.
Yeah, I guess I assumed they got married. I thought they were engaged at least.
And that's how the episode ends, with him looking at the ring and then him feeding Bruce some soup. And then I think the bat signal goes off. He's like, I got shit to do. But yeah, there's Static X, and there's a more rock based version which I'm used to. I put the video in our little Pip channel, but it's pretty cool to see because the singer, I forget, was Warren Static, maybe that might have been his name. Rest in peace. I'm so sorry, I forgot your name. He did pass away, unfortunately. He had a suit, like this leather suit that looks almost like the Batman Beyond suit, and he had this very long hair, and he styled it to have the bat ears. Basically, it's a really cool video too. I was a big fan of this as a kid. It was like it was like that, and I think the Mortal Kombat 1 soundtrack for the movie that got me into like heavier music. I was like, ooh, what's this? This is weird. I like it. uh,
I love
uh,
a funky song.
yeah, and this is, man, this fits really as well. It feels like future music. It feels like music that you would hear in a future club, weird ass holograms and all these teenagers. Let's talk about the club real quick before we get to quiz time.
Okay.
This club appears multiple times in the series, and it looks so fucking cool to hang out at. I want to go to this club. It reminds me of like a future version of a club I always wanted to go to as a kid as well, the Bronze in Buffy, the Vampire Slayer. I always wanted to go to the Bronze. I always thought that was the coolest fucking place ever. Especially you got Buffy and Faith all dancing in their iconic dancing scene. They're just chilling. There's like drinks rolling around. There's vampires. It's fucking awesome. But this always seemed like a cool version of that. Like it just like, man, the future looks shitty and awesome at the same time. And then we're in 2024, and it's like, there's an orange guy running for president. There's a fucking skeleton in the office right now. God damn it. It's
It's
worse
going
out.
great. We're feeling so optimistic about the future, if you can't tell. Just as optimistic as those kids in Neo Gotham are feeling about their future. You know, really on brand for the 2020s.
You know, and
Um,
in
yeah,
2020, Neo Gotham, you can inject yourself with like animal DNA and be like a cool animal human hybrid. But no,
yeah.
I can't get fucking free
And
healthcare
maul
in
people
America.
for
God
fun.
forbid. You know?
Don't get me started. Oh my god. Let's jump to our quiz time.
All right. For a quiz, I'm have one question, and I'm doing this because you're a big Justice League fan. So let's see. Michael Rosenbaum, who plays Ghoul, a member of the Joker's gang, also plays two prominent DC characters. Who does Michael
Hmm.
Rosenbaum play?
Well, I mean, the most obvious one is he was Lex, right? Like that's like kind of what at least what I assume he's known for. Um, and then fuck, it was Flash, right? In the show,
Yes. Yep.
he's Flash. I always think it's funny that like Lex and like Flash, because like they're so different, but have like such a like I don't know the way he like does this is
His
so
inflection,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
his
it's
inflection.
the voice doesn't really change between the two.
Mm.
It's almost like a little bit pitched up, or because Wally is just happy go lucky, like it's
Yeah,
more fun. And
a
then
little
Lex
more
is
joyful.
very
Yeah.
yeah, Lex is like, man, I have a shitty life. This kid I hit with a car, I kind of like him. He's pretty cool. And then like he gets betrayed. He's like, I am the villain of this story, which he actually says in the
He's
show.
like, I will become the villain in your story if I can't be the hero in mine. Yeah, that's
Exactly. And he's honestly probably the best Lex Luthor we've had.
great. Yeah,
It is crazy to
absolutely.
think
I'm
about.
so glad I actually knew an answer to a quiz on this.
I know, I
Another one.
know. Very proud of you. You did it. You got 100% on that one. All right, and then we're gonna do just final reviews before we get into what homework is gonna be for the next episode. Sly, overall, what did you think of this movie? Because I've been waxing poetic this whole time. I feel like.
I liked it. I knew it was going to be good. I knew it was going to be solid. Like, I mean, everybody who's a huge DC fan, especially of that era, like rants and raves about how incredible like Beyond is, and they like really hold so dearly to that show. And so like going into it, I knew it was set in this show very firmly. It was the direct spinoff of the time. It was like current to the show airing, and so it was going to have all of those resources and support and consistency that made it as high quality and like caliber as the show. um I was really impressed with the storylines and how they wove that throughout. um it's not quite a non-linear story, but we do have a decent amount of flashbacks, and like how we learn information is really interesting in the way that that's done narratively throughout the movie. And overall, like I said, I was going into this expecting it to not be for me and just be like, this is really good. It's not quite my style. Like, I definitely like recommend it to people who enjoy this kind of story. But I was shockingly impressed with how much I enjoyed this. And I watched something else earlier today that will be for another piece of content. And today I really just embraced watching things instead of analyzing things. And I
Mhm.
think that helped. Like I went into this movie and I just kind of watched it, and I didn't put on like my like critical thinking hat for it. Um because I was afraid I wasn't going to like it.
Fair.
Uh, but yeah, no, I think it's one I would definitely revisit in the future. I think it holds up as a movie from 2000, and yeah, I think I fully recommend it. Like absolutely. Um, I don't think you need the context of the show at all to watch it. If you're like me, if you want to watch the 3 episodes I did to have some knowledge going into it, highly recommend. But overall, I think they set up pretty generally good enough idea of what this universe looks like. Um, but yeah, I had a good time. This is fun.
Yeah, this movie hits every time I watch it, and I'm glad that I could always find something new with this. Like this viewing, going deep into the Harley, analysis and like seeing how sad it is, like her plight that she is unfortunately a part of, but she also, you can see the sadness, and it's hinted at, and it's we just know because of like her status of who she is and what she had to deal with as a character. We know how hard it is for her to see her doing this. Um, I always loved this movie. I find it impressive that they turned something that was a demand from Warner Brothers execs at the time to be like, we need money and we need action figures because those sell. Make us something, and they literally turned like coal into diamond and created this amazing series. And yeah, you don't like Sly said, you don't need the context of the series to watch this and enjoy it. If you do watch the series, I think you get more out of it because you are familiar with these characters. But my hope is if you do watch this movie, you do want to go back and see that the series because it is incredible. And many of us who grew up with Batman Beyond as a series and all the ancillary shows as well, Static Shock, things like that, we did get payoffs in the Justice League cartoon. There are like a 2 or 3 episode little like allude to where they go in the future. Terry's there, a future Static is there as members of this new Justice League, which is really cool to see. You get the epilogue to this series and this movie in Justice League, which is a beautiful episode. I've mentioned so many times, even our first episode, because it does involve Andrea Beaumont. uh, it's really impressive that they were able to make something like this, and to see Wilfred L, who I mean, again, for me, was like a comedy actor, someone who embodied like a very aloof, and as his character, as that series of Boy Meets World progressed, he was just so stupid. He could talk to squirrels at one point. He's just dumb. Like there's just dumb shit that happens in that series, and I love all that kind of humor and stuff. But to then see Wilfred L be able to flex like a dramatic muscle as Terry, kind of do the more little the fun loving stuff that he gets to do. I mean, mind you, if you also grew up with like Kim Possible, he's Ron Stoppable. Like he's he's
Yeah,
also
love Kim Possible. Yeah,
exactly. So he's also
absolutely.
Ron Stoppable. Like you can see his comedic chops, but like to see him be able to embody Batman and create his own Batman alongside, the legendary Kevin Conroy. They could share this role in this universe. It's really beautiful to see. It's one of my favorite movies, and I've tried not to gush too much and sing his praises, but yeah, absolutely run and go see this movie if you can. But that is it for this episode. We have homework for you guys next week, which is Justice League versus the Fatal Five. Again, Sly, I don't think you really messed up timeline wise. Technically,
Okay.
it's a dual timeline because there's the 31st century after everything,
Yeah,
and then
timelines are wacky.
before.
Yeah, I mean, we could just argue that I went off of uh release order for the last two. That doesn't make sense. Anyways, I tried. The spreadsheet by no means will be perfect as we go through, but at least it's something to work off. But yeah, I'm really excited to dive into that and see how we feel about Justice League versus the Fatal Five that came out in 2019. I did unfortunately miss it. It was a little bit past my time of me watching all of these movies religiously. So it will be a first viewing for me, but I'm really excited.
Yeah, this would be my second time watching it, but I think it was one of those like COVID, like, oh, I got nothing to watch. Oh, I forgot I missed this one. Like, let's watch it kind of
Mhm.
things. Yeah, next week is going to round out the Diniverse for the foreseeable future, unless something else comes out, which I will welcome any and all Diniverse movies. Please, God, just keep going, just keep doing something. Every movie, every once a couple years. Come on, a Justice League thing. Who cares? I'm down. Let's just keep going. Uh,
Yeah, I'm really excited to round out the Diniverse. We'll have a quick interlude, and then I'm really excited for our next season
oh
to
man, it's
dive
gonna be
into.
good.
It's gonna be good.
There's a couple banger ass episodes in that, man. I can't wait to get
Oh
into.
yeah.
But till next time, class is adjourned.